Hello everyone, this is Kara and welcome to this week's restorative yoga practice. It has been another extremely challenging week here on planet Earth in the year 2020. And if you're like me, you might be coming to today's practice with perhaps a sense of being overwhelmed physically, emotionally, and mentally by everything that is happening, all the information coming in from all sides, in addition to all of the issues, problems, realities happening in our own personal life. So first of all, I want to congratulate you for taking the time for yourself today, turning on this video, creating a quiet, sacred space for yourself to really check in and process some of the overwhelming energy that is within us and all around us at this moment in time. So to come into this present moment, we will start there as always with our practice. Today I'm going to use the singing bowl and some sound meditation as the means to which to help bring us into this present time and space. And then we'll work with some slow, gentle, flowing movements and postures to help activate the parasympathetic nervous system, moving us out of flight, fight, or freeze mode and into rest and digest mode. And then from there, doing exactly that, resting in Shavasana. We're going to take an extended Shavasana today and work with some meditation techniques around recognizing and processing emotions and our emotional energy. So I invite you to take your seat, perhaps sitting on a block or a cushion so that we can have the knees beneath the hips, feeling into the sits bones and lengthening up through the crown of the head. Inhaling the shoulders up towards the ears and then exhaling them back and down, expanding through the heart center and letting the hands relax on the thighs, palms up, palms down, whatever feels most natural. We'll also drop the chin slightly towards the chest to elongate the back of the neck, having a sense of openness in the back of the body. Taking a few breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we can either close the eyes or keep the eyes open, whatever helps keep us more present, more in this moment in time and space. So if you usually close the eyes, you might try keeping the eyes open today so we can really focus on being present, just allowing the energy of the eyes to be towards the back, letting the gaze be soft. So we're taking in our external environment at the same time we have an inward focus and awareness of what's happening in our body. All right, so taking a few cleansing breaths, again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. On the inhale, starting to become aware of where we're holding tension in our body. On the exhale, inviting relaxation, release, softening, releasing. Let's do a couple more. You can start to activate all three breath centers, belly, diaphragm, and upper chest. A full yogic breath, and then exhaling out completely. And we'll begin to exhale out through the nose. I invite you to, with each breath, perhaps elongating and deepening your breath. And then as I play the singing bowl, the technique in terms of meditation is to try and anchor our mind to that sound. not allowing any other thoughts to interrupt our attention to the sound of the bowl. And particularly with the bowl there, it's like a wave of sound. You can feel and hear the vibrations. So seeing how much we can attach and anchor our mind to that sound, into those vibrations, following it out into infinity, and allowing our mind, our energy, the boundaries, kind of sense of our boundaries to also kind of expand and dissolve outward into the sound. And we'll rest here in silence for a few more breaths. Just noticing any shifts that have occurred in our awareness, in our mental, physical, emotional state, just by the few moments of anchoring our body, anchoring our mind to that sound, and just allowing ourselves to open and expand out with the sound. Beautiful. From here, let's slowly, mindfully, keeping our awareness in our body, come into Malasana or squat pose here. We can stay seated on a block. If you need more height, you can grab another block. And then pointing the toes outward, bringing the knees over the ankles. Bringing the hands to the heart. Again, keeping the chest open, shoulders back and down. If we're lower and the elbows can press into the inner thighs to help press the knees out, that's fine. If not, we're just bringing the elbows out in line with the knees. And then let's take a moment here to breathe into our feet, feeling our connection to the earth. Breathing the energy or prana of the earth up through the soles of the feet into the legs. On the exhale, maybe even imagine sending roots down through the feet so that the earth and our body are energetically connected, just like a tree connected to the earth through its roots. Pressing the palms together and feeling into the hands and kind of evenly pressing through the knuckles and the palms, the mounds of the fingers, the fingertips, breathing into the hands. On the exhale, relaxing through the shoulders, the arms, the chest, the face. So having a sense of really activating the feet and the hands, two of our main energy centers through which we take in and release energy. And then moving very slowly, grounding down through the feet, coming in, bringing our weight into the feet, coming off the blocks, and then inhaling, coming all the way up, bringing the arms up, and then exhaling, coming into star pose, spreading the fingers, spreading the toes, breathing, having a sense of, again, on the exhale, expanding out. We can expand, imagining the energy expanding out through the hands and through the feet, out into infinity. So reaching down through the feet, the energy travels down to the center of the earth, and then out through the hands, out to the center of the universe. And then feeling that connection between the two, earth and sky, within our own body. Maybe breathing it into the heart, the diaphragm, solar plexus, or the belly, or all three. Good, inhaling. And then exhaling, slowly taking it all back down and in, taking a breath. And once again, inhaling, pressing through the feet, coming all the way up. Exhaling, expanding, sending the energy up and down in all directions. And then also keeping our shoulders down away from the ears. We're not shrugging up or tensing up the shoulders here, letting the shoulders, shoulder blades relax down the spine, reaching out through those fingers, the toes. Good, inhale. And exhale, slowly taking it back down. Uniting the hands at the heart, having a sense of drawing that energy in and down into our body. Again, balancing those two energies, the sky and the moon. Hatha yoga is those two aspects, the light and the dark, the sun and the moon, the active and receptive energies. Beautiful. And then again, inhaling, coming up. And exhale, let's point those toes forward and come into a nice wide forward fold. You can always use your blocks here, bringing them to the front, resting the hands on the blocks, aligning the edges of the feet with the edges of the mat, keeping the back straight to start, and then pressing out through the edges of the feet to open the back of the legs, reaching out through the crown of the head, keeping the spine nice and long. Taking a few breaths here. Nice and deep and long breaths here for our whole practice. Again, this helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, helping us to shift out of anxious, stressful mode into relaxed, present, at ease, feeling safe, feeling held. If this is too much to have the legs fully extended, just have a little bend in the knee, nice and easy. Don't want any strain on those knee joints at all. Activating our threefold breathing, our full yogic breathing, so including the belly, diaphragm, and upper chest. Having a sense of expanding into the sides and into the back of the body as well as the front. So 360-degree breathing. Beautiful. Let's take it deeper into our forward fold. Inhale. And then exhale, deepening down. We can start to orient the head down towards the floor, resting the head on the blocks or taking those blocks away and just letting the head hang, shaking out the head, yes and no, a few times. Really surrendering to gravity here, letting gravity lengthen the vertebrae of the spine as we continue to press out through the edges of the feet, opening up the back of the legs, the hamstrings. So let's take 2 or 3 more breaths, letting the blood and the prana or energy flow into the skull, activating or clearing out any dense energy in the head, breathing in new life and fresh air, fresh space into the entire skull, having a sense of releasing out any dense thoughts, obsessive thoughts, etc., down through the crown of the head into the earth. Inhaling, coming up, we might grab our blocks again. We'll come into a twist here, placing the left hand on the block and then inhaling the right arm up towards the ceiling. Getting a nice little twist through the torso and through the neck. Inhaling. Exhaling, we can let that right arm fall out to the side, pressing through the left hand to rotate even further. Maybe bending the elbow, pressing into the hip or the back to open the shoulder. Really releasing tension in the shoulder. If the neck feels tense, we just look down towards that bottom hand, looking down towards the floor. Also feeling that stretch of the inner left thigh as we kind of twist into it. And then again, coming back to center and inhaling the left arm up. Continuing with our 360 breaths here, maybe deepening by bending the elbow, pressing into the back. You can also, if those little fingertips on the left side can reach into the inner right thigh, we can use that to pull and come into the twist, and then breathing into the shoulder, the chest, the neck. Again, if the neck gets tense, we just look down towards the floor, but we can still stay in the twist and open, breathe into the shoulder, the chest. Inhaling that left arm up and exhaling down back to center. Let's go ahead and turn those toes out and come into side lunge here. Again, if we need some height, we can stack our blocks. Inhaling and exhaling, coming over to the right. Try and keep the hips and shoulders aligned towards the front. Breathing into that right hip. Nice, deep, long breaths. Really engaging all of the belly, diaphragm, and chest. See how much we can expand in each posture. How much can we still expand the breath into the back, the sides, the front? Maybe deepening down. We can bend into it. Try to keep that knee over the ankle as much as we can. We can press into the crease between the calf and the thigh to open that knee out, maybe balancing here. Left heel is on the floor, toes pointing up. Keeping shoulders and hips towards the front. Again, if this is too deep, too intense on the inner thigh or the hip, we just get more height up here, get that sole of the foot on the floor for stability. Keeping the neck long, back is straight. Inhaling, taking it back to center for a moment, pointing the toes in. And then inhaling, turning the toes out once again. Exhaling, taking it over to side lunge on the other side. Adjusting your stance as you need to, using the blocks at any height for support, but still keeping the spine long, shoulders away from the ears. Reaching out through the crown of the head. Inhaling and exhaling, maybe taking it down if we can, bending into it. And bringing the elbow into the crease, hands to the heart, right toes up towards the ceiling. So using the sensations in our body here as our anchor of meditation. So we're not letting the mind wander into the past or the future. Using that sensation in the thigh, the hip, etc. as our anchor of our mind, and then breathing into those sensations. Sometimes we might need to exhale out through the mouth to really release that energy and let it go. And then inhaling, coming back to center. And exhale, heel toeing the feet in towards hip width apart. Let's bend the knees, come into ragdoll. Grab the elbows, let the head hang. Again, maybe shaking out the head. So we are placing the rib cage on the thigh, hip hinging back, toes pointing forward. And then maybe swaying a bit side to side. Surrendering, letting the head, the elbows fall closer to the floor. You can also swing a little bit forward and back, bending the knees a little more and then extending the legs. So sometimes a little more dynamic movement like this can really help us release energy more effectively. Any tension is, say, in the hamstrings here. Getting that energy circulating and releasing. Beautiful, and then slowly coming up, bending a little bit into each side, really feeling the stretch into the low back and the sides. Eventually coming up to standing, feet hip width apart, and inhaling the shoulders up towards the ears, and then exhaling, squeezing the shoulder blades in and down the spine. Feeling into all that tension in the shoulders, the neck muscles, the chest, the face. Seeing how much we can release and let go. Using that exhalation to surrender the energy. All that tension. Let's do a few times in the opposite direction. Nice and easy, slow, mindfully squeezing the shoulder blades in and down the spine, and then exhaling, rounding forward. Beautiful. Taking a wide stance once again, and then just swinging the arms, twisting through the waist side to side. You can just let those arms kind of hit the body gently. This is another way when we, again, start to let the mind wander. We start thinking about some unresolved issue or something someone said to us, or what plans we have, or what happened yesterday. We can kind of wake ourselves up by touching our own body just like this, maybe giving ourselves a little slap to say, hey, let's come back to the present moment here. Reconnect with your breath. And then stepping the feet together, let's slowly, gently come into any version of tree pose that is calls to us today. So first coming onto our right foot, Bringing that big toe down, lifting up the other toes, and then spreading out all those other toes. Laying them flat on the mat so the mounds of the toes are nice and flat on the mat. And then pressing down through the middle of the heel, which naturally tilts the tailbone down, the pelvic bones up. Starting to take our weight off that left foot so we can just bring those toes off the floor and really drawing into our center here. We can start with the hands at the heart in the center of our body, and then placing the sole of the foot on the calf, or even resting the toe on the earth and moving the knee out, more or less in line with the hip here. So just taking a nice gentle version of tree pose. If you feel inspired to take it further, taking the leg up to the inner thigh or on the foot onto the thigh, any version is fine here. And again, pressing the fingertips, the palms together. Feeling the energy in the hands, helping that to help center, focusing our awareness in the center of our body, breathing into our heart, diaphragm, belly. Using a point to focus on to help with balance. Relaxing into the pose. If we have to have a slight bend in the knee to maintain our balance, no big deal. Again, we can bring the big toe down towards the floor to help with balance as well. Let's bring in the arms here, nice and easy. Inhaling the arms up. Keeping the elbows out and bring the shoulders back and down. So we're bending the elbows, hands in prayer above the crown of the head. Breathing here. Again, expanding through the heart center, moving the elbows out. Sending the root down through our standing foot. Inhaling. Exhaling, maybe spreading our branches, our leaves, and letting those leaves slowly fall down, maybe even moving our fingers like the leaves are gently falling off the trees as we move into autumn. So let's do a few of these. Inhaling the arms up. Exhaling, feeling the leaves, the fingers fluttering, slowly falling back down. Inhaling up through our central channel, our spine, through the heart center, up through the throat chakra, the ajna chakra between the eyebrows, the crown chakra. Beautiful. And then coming back to center, gently releasing down, shaking out the legs, shaking out the arms. And let's reconnect on the other side. So bringing the left foot slightly in towards the center of the body. Big toe comes down, presses into the floor. Spread the other toes and then lay them down on the mat, spreading the mounds of the toes on the mat, pressing through the middle of the heel. Tailbone tilts down, hip bones tilting up, shoulders back and down. Bring the hands to the heart. And then starting to shift that weight into the left foot, sliding the foot as high up the leg as feels good today. Bring the knee out towards the side in line with the hip. Really breathing into that standing leg, that foot, feeling the whole four corners of the feet, the whole foot activated and sending energy down to the center of the earth, rooting us, connecting that main line of prana energy to the earth's energy, and then it rises up into our body. Inhaling, bringing the arms up. Exhaling the shoulders back and down, so you can feel that whole circuit of prana coming all the way up through the center of the body, out through the crown of the head, and maybe even activating and collecting in the hands above the crown of the head. And then we're sending that energy out into the arms and the hands. Inhaling the arms out and exhaling, letting the leaves, our branches slowly fluttering down to the earth, and then inhaling back up towards the sky. Let's do a couple more here. Again, if that standing leg feels a little shaky or unstable, just putting a little bend in the knee. And last one. Exhaling down. Beautiful. And then releasing out, shaking out the arms, the legs. Bring the feet together. Let's come into high mountain pose. Inhaling the arms up. Bring the palms together and exhaling. Letting the hip come out to the right as we lean over to the left. We can make a point or keep the palms together. Inhaling center. Exhaling to the other side. We can even let the arms drop. And then inhaling up. So we're just like a tree now. Blowing in the breeze. Letting our branches and our leaves easily flow side to side. Coordinating with our breath, taking it slow. Let's do one more each side. Letting it be like a dance here. And inhaling up. Exhaling. Let's widen those legs out, tee the arms out, and come into our triangle pose. So aligning the edge of the left with the edge of the mat, aligning the front heel with the middle of the back arch. We can use again our blocks here for support. So bringing the block to the inner front foot, inhaling, reaching forward, letting this left hip jut out, and exhaling, coming into triangle. This is where you might use a block at any height. Aligning the arms in a nice straight line. Breathing, twisting through the torso, looking up towards the ceiling. Inhaling. And exhaling the arm over. Continuing to twist and really orienting the left foot down towards the floor. Inhaling, coming up. Exhaling into reverse triangle. Letting the back of the back hand slide down the back leg. Let's flow through these a few times. Inhaling up to center. Exhaling into triangle. Inhaling, coming up. Nice and easy, slow, deep breathing. Exhaling, reverse. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. And inhaling up. Last one. Exhaling over. Inhaling up to center, teeing the arms out. Exhaling the arms down and pointing both toes forward. Take a breath. And then we'll go to the other side, pointing the opposite toe towards the front of your mat, aligning the back edge of the foot with the edge of the mat, bringing your block to that front foot. Inhaling the arms up, hips and shoulders facing forward. Exhaling, reaching forward with that left hand, letting the right hip move out. Inhale and exhaling over. So we can start with the aligning the arms up towards the ceiling, rotating through the torso, rooting down through that back foot. Inhaling and exhaling the arm over. Trying not to collapse in the upper chest, keeping the chest open, hips and shoulders in alignment. Inhaling, coming up. Exhaling into reverse. Inhaling center. Exhaling, just flowing with the breath. Letting the mind be empty, focusing on where we feel the sensations in our body as we move through the postures. Let's do one more each side. Inhaling, coming up. Exhale, release those left toes to the front. Release the arms down. Take a breath. Beautiful. Then let's point both toes forward. Maybe we're shortening our stance here. We're aligning the feet in the same plane. You can bring your blocks to frame either side of the front foot, and we'll work our way into pyramid pose here. If the hamstrings are feeling tight, just allow a slight bend in the knee and the front leg. Inhaling the arms up. Exhaling, perhaps arching back. Just taking a gentle back bend. We don't have to push it. Just rooting down through our feet for balance. Spread those toes. You can always use a wall here. Using one hand on the wall as we arch back. Good, let's take it forward. Inhale, center. And exhaling, coming forward into pyramid pose. Again, if this is too intense on the back of the legs, you just put a slight bend in the knees. We can still lengthen through the crown of the head, flattening out the back, aligning the hips and shoulders. If we can extend the legs, we go ahead and do that. Pressing the heels down towards the floor, shoulders away from the ears. Nice long deep breaths. Expand through the rib cage. Expand into the back of the body. And then maybe on the exhale, we're deepening the chest towards the knee. Exhaling down. Again, with the knees bent, it would look more like this. And let the head just hang for a moment. If the legs are extended, we're here. We're still not allowing the shoulders to shrug up towards the ears, keeping the neck and head long. Inhaling, slowly coming up. Bringing the arms up and exhaling into the back bend just as much as we feel stable. You can also support your head here, spreading or interlacing the fingers and resting the back of the head on the hands. Inhaling up, exhaling forward. Just taking it as far as feels good. Let's do one more in this side. Inhaling up, exhaling back. Again, if this is hard to maintain your balance like that, you can always use the support of a wall, even as you come into a back bend. And then inhale to center, exhale, facing forward. Let's take it to the other side. So aligning the feet and legs in the same plane, pointing the toes forward. Spread those toes, brace your core for stability. Inhaling the arms up, exhaling back. Nice and gentle, easy back bend. Again, we don't need to go really far back to get a nice lift through the chest, a nice stretch. And releasing some of that tension in the low back. Inhaling the arms up. Exhaling, coming forward, bending those knees if we need to. A few deep breaths here. Maybe on the exhale, deepening down, chest moving towards the knee. Again, we can always bend those knees. Inhaling, slowly coming up, really feeling into your body, noticing the muscles that need to engage to keep your balance as you come up. Exhaling, arching back. Again, maybe using a wall here for support. Just So one more time, inhaling up, exhaling down. You might find bending that front knee a little bit as you come up is a little more stable, pressing that front foot into the floor. Exhaling, arching back. Moving the elbows out to expand through the heart center. You might even bring the arms back and interlace the fingers and open through the chest. Good. Inhale, come back to center. Bring those arms up and then exhale, facing forward. Bring the toes forward and stepping it forward, shaking it out. Beautiful. Let's make our way onto the mat. First we'll come into down dog, or first we'll go into forward fold, then down dog. So inhaling the arms up, high mountain, exhale. Letting the hands travel through the heart down to the floor. Coming into our forward fold for a moment, Uttanasana. Again, no big deal if the hands aren't on the floor, if we're not quite reaching towards, if we can't quite get the fingertips on the floor, we can grab the elbows, bend the knees, hip hinge back, and just let the elbows and head hang. Okay, so then we're going to come into down dog, stepping the feet back. Bringing the hands to the mat, inhaling and then exhaling. Bend those knees, tilt the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Move the shoulder blades away from the spine. And then nice and easy, slowly coordinating with your breath. Let's paddle the feet a few times. Walking out the dog, stretching through the calves, ankles, feet. Inhaling, dropping the knees and arching through the spine. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, coming into cow pose. And then exhaling, slowly rounding into cat. Inhaling up to cow and feeling free to move in these postures, shifting the hips and shoulders side to side, leaning into the wrists. Leaning back into the hips. Same thing as in cat pose. Feel free to maybe drop one hip down towards the heel, stretching through the low back. And then the other side. We can also do some circling around in either pose. Here in cow pose. Circling, leaning into the wrists, the hips. And then let's go ahead and drop those hips down, widen the knees, touch the big toes, and come into child's pose. You can bring the cheek to the mat and then relax the arms down to the sides, just really letting go. Letting the shoulders sink towards the floor, connecting the chest to the floor as well, feeling the connection of the heart to the earth energy. Breathing up the energy of the earth into the heart. And then exhaling, releasing, beginning to connect. So really connect to what is the energy in the heart feel like today. So we're going to start to spend a few breaths here. And then we're going to slowly make our way into Shavasana to continue to work with our heart and our emotions. So allowing this to be our first gateway into our emotional state by connecting our physical, literally the physical heart to the physical earth, and just breathing into that point of connection here. So really bringing our whole awareness to the sensations in our heart center. Noticing the quality of the energy there. Does the heart feel like there is some armoring around the heart, like a barrier between itself and the earth? Or is there a sense of it being porous and open? So just noticing, breathing into it. If there is a sense of armoring or closeness or separation between the heart and the earth, just seeing if we can use that exhale to start to dissolve that armor, dissolving that barrier. So we start to feel as if the breath can flow freely and unobstructed between the heart and the earth. And then moving very slowly, keeping that sense of connection and openness in the heart center, we will press up, lifting through the chest, and then bringing our hip down to the mat, and then slowly making our way onto the back. Taking the most comfortable position, maybe supporting the head with a blanket or covering yourself with a blanket to have a greater sense of ease, security, safety. We can come into traditional corpse pose with the legs and feet out away from the body, or if there feels strain in the low back, you can bend the knees, bring the sacrum flat on the mat, walk the toes, the feet out, point the toes in, and let the knees come together. So from whatever comfortable lying down position, we'll take a few breaths here. Continuing to breathe nice and slow and deep, and just taking again a moment to scan through the body, noticing areas of tension and inviting release and relaxation on the exhale. And then returning to breathing into our heart center and our diaphragm. So we can, if it's helpful, place one hand on the heart, one hand on the diaphragm or the solar plexus. And first beginning again by just breathing deeply in all directions in these areas. And the exhale, inviting the heart and the diaphragm to relax and release. allowing the mind to become as still and quiet as it can. We can use that point of contact of our hands on our body as our anchor point. So if we start to get distracted, just coming back to that sensation of the hands resting on the body. Again, if it's helpful to keep your eyes open, but our awareness focused inward in order to stay more present, then keep the eyes open. If you feel that having the eyes closed helps you stay more in your body, then keep the eyes closed. So just feeling what works for you. And then as an exercise to work intentionally with our emotions, we can either notice and become aware of an emotion that is currently present with us. If that emotion is very much calling for our attention. However, if we're feeling like the emotions are not quite present or accessible, we can use our mind, our visualization, to generate the energy of motion in our body. So for example, we can try feeling into the sensation of helping to arise the emotion of love. So bringing to mind someone we love unconditionally in our lives. So it could be a parent, a child, a partner. So just bringing to mind someone that we love unconditionally, that it's very easy and natural for us to feel that sensation of love. So bringing that person into our mind, visualizing their face, maybe visualizing an interaction of us expressing love with them, hugging or kissing or holding hands, or washing our child, bathing our child, feeding our child, whatever it may be. So bringing to mind that person and that act of love, and then noticing where we feel sensations in our body when we imagine that person or that interaction. So it's common for us to experience emotions in the heart and the solar plexus or even the belly, but we also might feel it in other areas. So just noticing. We might feel energy in our hands, our feet, our hips, or somewhere very deep in the body. So just noticing, or maybe tears come to our eyes. Noticing the sensations of how does love express ourselves as sensation in our body. And then breathing into those sensations. Noticing where we're experiencing sensation and then breathing into those sensations as we continue for a few more breaths, imagining someone we love unconditionally and feeling that love express itself in our body. Noticing as we do this, if there's a tendency in the mind to start to create thoughts around what we're experiencing or judgments around what we're experiencing, and just seeing if we can let that analytical, critical thinking mind just go offline and continue to breathe and feel into the sensations. And then we might even connect with this emotion, this feeling of love in our body, and ask it a few questions, such as, what information do you have for me? What wisdom is there for me? What wisdom do you have for me? And another one might be, what can I do to nurture you or to bring you more into my life, such as love? Most people want more love, or we want to regularly experience the feeling of love. So just asking that emotion, what can I do in my life regularly to have you be a regular part of my life and present in my body, my mind, my heart? And then listening in from our heart space for any words, images, or other information arising as we ask those questions to the emotion, to ourselves. Beautiful. And then just taking a moment to totally release any technique, letting go of visualization, maybe resting our hands to the sides for a moment. Kind of resetting. So this is how we see how a process of a more positive emotion that we tend to welcome into our lives, how it might be a little easier to access than some of the, I guess I shouldn't put positive or negative, since we are reading all these emotions as energy without any judgment of positive or negative. So some of the more challenging emotions might be anger, rage, sadness, depression, anxiety, grief, etc. So I invite you, if you feel comfortable at this point, to help visualize a situation or a particular person or something that helps to generate that feeling of a more difficult emotion you'd like to work with. So again, it could be something that has happened to you, something you saw in the news, something that you heard about or was experienced by someone else close to you. So any situation that elicits a feeling of emotions that we tend to find more challenging. So if you find that you struggle with anger, again, sadness, grief, etc., calling to mind a situation, and again, we'll place our hands on our body. Really, we can place our hands on our body anywhere that feels appropriate. So for this, it might be more like in the belly, again, the diaphragm, or the heart, or another part of our body. So just placing our hands wherever feels the body's calling to us as we visualize situation or something that happened, something we heard about that brings up a challenging emotion for us. And then we're allowing ourselves to experience the sensations in our body that arise when we visualize and elicit this emotion. Once again, we're really focused on what we feel, literally feel, versus what we think about that situation, what we judge, what we critique the situation, what have you. We're allowing that all to be on the side, focusing primarily on what sensations these emotions evoke in us. What is the quality of the energy? It might be a sharp feeling of pain in the heart, the stomach, etc., or the head, another part of our body. It might feel like a dull ache, It might feel like a flush of energy that's arising or swelling, bringing tears to our eyes or flushing our face, increasing our heart rate, particularly if we're working with an emotion such as fear or anger. So allowing this energy to fully express itself in your body. If you start to feel overwhelmed, you are always allowed to take a step back and return to your breath and ground your energy, maybe touch the earth. So just knowing that you can always back away from that emotion, but if we're brave and if we feel in this moment, we can step fully into that emotion, taking the chance and allowing ourselves to really fully feel the entirety of whatever is arising. And then once again, once we are experiencing that energy and emotion in our bodies, asking that energy, that emotion, is there any information, any wisdom that you have for me? Any insight? Any lesson that is there for me to learn by experiencing this emotion? Anything it's telling me about myself? And then just putting those questions out there and seeing what arises. Any images, further sensations, words, etc. Just being open to the wisdom of the emotion. Fully accepting and validating the energy that is present with that emotion and allowing it to communicate with us. And then finally asking of this emotion what it might need from us. Any practices or actions or even just attention that it needs from us in order to fully express itself and then move on. So we don't end up holding and guarding that emotion, that energy, and not allowing it to fully express. So take a moment to check in. What does our anger, our sadness, our grief, etc. need from us in order to be fully expressed and then be able to move on and release? So this might be having a difficult conversation. It might be spending more time just like this, feeling the emotion and allowing that the power of the emotion to really be felt and experienced fully by us. It might be cutting ties with certain people or certain situations. Just noticing what arises for us when we ask this question, what is this emotion need from us? And then we might even thank the emotion before completing our practice or continuing and working with other emotions that may be up for us right now. So taking a moment to thank the emotion, thank the energy, thank the wisdom it's bringing to our lives, the potential for growth, for learning more about ourselves, about the world, about people, etc. And then coming back to our neutral state. Taking a few breaths. So at this point, I invite you, if there again are other emotions that you would like to work with using this same process, or emotions that are just really up for you right now, I encourage you to continue to go through this process of what we call somatic listening. Somatic just meaning bodily, listening to the body, and understanding that everything that we go through is held in our body on an energetic level, and attempting to work directly with that energy so that it doesn't stay trapped within our tissues, so to speak, and then affecting our physical health, our mental health, our spiritual health, etc. So I invite you again to rest in Shavasana, maybe just not working with the emotions and just allowing your body and mind and heart to just rest fully for another 5 minutes or however long feels good for you. So thank you so much for taking the time today to really check in with body, mind, and spirit, and emotionally, so that we can really work on resolving some of our held emotions and feeling more free, alive, and present in our current life situation. So thank you so much once again for doing this work that is always not so easy. So much love to you all. I look forward to seeing you next time. Namaste.